And she arises from the grave yet again. Hey guys. I know it's been a while since I've recorded everything. Yeah, you know, it's been a bit of a hectic... Oh gosh, it's almost been a year. I say that pretty much every time though, don't I? But, I will attempt to be better. At least for a little bit. I make no promises. But yeah. Let's get into the thingy about her. Alright, so I did this one a bit ago. Evil Kuromi and My Melody. So I was inspired to do this because Kuromi's headpiece already looks so much like an escoffion? How do you actually pronounce that? I have actually never... Escoffion. Is that... Let's see how to pronounce. Because it looks like it could be like a weird French thing. Oh my gosh, I love how when I look it up, I get a stupid AI summary that just says that there are sources where you can find the pronunciation of escoffion, or however you pronounce it. That's so stupid. What? Huh? The hell? Someone just tell me. Pronounce. Okay, well, that's... And, of course, for some reason, and it's really bugging me, for some reason, my default search engine keeps being changed to Yahoo. Against my will. Which is concerning, but also annoying. Fucking hell, man. Okay, now let me search. Maybe Google will be slightly more helpful. Escoffion... I love how this is supposed to be a video about, like, my thought process, my design process. And instead, escoffion. Escoffion. Okay, yeah, see, that's what I thought it would be. Thank you. What the hell was up with those Yahoo results? I'm like... Okay. That off topic. Back onto topic. Okay, so I was inspired to do medieval versions of My Melody and Kuromi, because Kuromi's headpiece already looks a lot like an escoffion. So I was like, you know, this would translate really well into, you know, like in a medieval inspired design. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna do Kuromi, I may as well do My Melody. I originally was just going to do them as little portraits, but then I found, you know, I was having trouble getting everything to kind of line up correctly. Like, just doing the bust, so I was like, okay, I gotta do the whole, sketch out the whole body. You know, to just figure out where everything is and kind of design the outfit more. And at that point, I was like, well, I might as well just go ahead and do two versions. One full body and one with a frame. And I'm actually kind of glad I did it because, honestly, designing these outfits was a lot of fun for me. It was definitely a challenge. Like, especially you'll notice me kind of going back and forth with Kuromi's design. I wanted to still have it look like them, obviously. But, you know, like My Melody and Kuromi, but also still look distinctly I was mainly going for like 14th, 15th century, to be specific. I especially was having actually a hard time with My Melody, especially that headpiece. Because I pretty quickly decided that I wanted to give her a wimple. Because I was like, oh, like a wimple would be a pretty good stand-in for her little head. But what I couldn't decide for a while was what I wanted to do with the ears. And like the little flowers. Because that's such a big part of her silhouette and her design. You know, and what makes her recognizable. And eventually what I settled on was I decided to turn her ears into those little hair loopies. Because that way it like still keeps her ears, but it doesn't disrupt like the silhouette of the wimple. And then for her little flower, I actually had a moment where I was, and you'll see it on the screen with like the little reference photo. I found this example of a wimple that had like a little headband around it that had these little stylized flowers on it, and that was like, I was like, this is perfect. So I decided to do like those little flowers on a little headband around her wimple to kind of incorporate that in. And then I'm just kind of going bouncing all around. And then for like Kuromi, again for the most part, like because her headpiece was kind of similar silhouette-wise, that was fairly straightforward. What got me was her little tufts, like her little spiky tufts around her neck, because those are more gestury, and I was kind of going for more of like evil queen vibe for her. So I was trying to figure out how to incorporate it, and I found an example of this lady who was wearing an escoffion was like a veil, like tuft of fabric, because you'd see some where they had like the tuft of fabric like pinned underneath their chin. I don't know like an actual technical term for it, but I saw one where she was wearing a very dense full one that was kind of like billowing, like bunched up under her neck. And so I decided to kind of do that to create the shape of like the spiky bits, but have it actually like, instead of actual neat points, it's like the folds of the fabric that has little points, and it kind of creates that shape for draping, was the idea. Now, where I really had trouble with Kuromi was the dress, and specifically the color scheme of the dress. I'm sorry, I'm like bouncing around so much. But you know, that's just how we roll. That's how we roll! Rock and roll! And nothing ever makes sense. So you'll see later in this video probably that I was having a lot of trouble with, especially like the colors for Kuromi's dress. I was inspired by like a Burgundian style, because it really has like that evil queen vibe that I was going for. But it was very difficult because there was so much going on around her neck with like the kind of scarf draping going on and the headpiece. That, you know, it was hard to pick colors where there was like enough contrast. That, you know, you could actually tell what was going on, but still kind of staying in that darker color scheme that I was trying to go for her. And I did play around a bit with, you know, going with a simpler style of dress, to try and make it a bit easier, you know, and have the focus be more on the headpiece. But I just wasn't having fun with that. You know, it was, I wanted it to be extravagant, okay? I wanted it to be extra. I wanted there to be fur. I wanted there to be, you know, all sorts of bits and bobs. This is very much a maximalist design, okay? I was also, you know, having a lot of trouble deciding, you know, whether I wanted to go with the gold or something else. I eventually ended up going with kind of silvery tones with purples, and that ended up, I think, working. I went like with a kind of silvery color for the fur to create that contrast, and then stuck with purples everywhere else to kind of keep that evil queen vibe, and I think it worked. I will say I'm also really upset because I was like super happy with how like the fur came out, okay? Like shading their fur. And I forgot to fucking film it. Okay? And I hate when I do that. It's always the stuff where I'm like, dang. I kind of ate with that, where I just forgot to turn on OBS. And then I'm just like, sometimes it's with whole pieces too. Like, you'll notice, I recently really regretted, like, I did a Malevola fan art. It took me months, but I was like, nice. I like how this came out. I had like started it on on a whim when I was tabling at a convention. Oh, I should. By the way, I don't know if because it's been a while. I don't know if I've talked about it on this channel yet. I started tabling at like anime conventions this year. Started in like January. Hasn't kind of slowed down doing it because honestly, it was not working out for me. It was not. I'll be honest. But I was. At least it was an interesting experience. I had fun though. I had fun. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. You'll notice I decided to make her Kuromi's little sash a little more extra by adding some silver detailing to it. Again, we're going for maximalism, okay? That's the name of the game. Kuromi gets I can't talk. My Melody. Not Kuromi, My Melody gets to be a little more simplistic. Yeah, she's kind of going for a little more of that sweet, down to earth peasant girl vibe. Okay, but Kuromi's a queen. Kuromi needs a little extra. Okay. I don't know why I'm like this. So anyway, I will say I had a lot of fun rendering this one. I kind of was playing around. You may have noticed if you've watched my like last couple speed paints, that I've been really enjoying using like rougher textured brushes recently, like a little more fuzzy edged, and part of that is because I'm a lazy butt, and I just use the default setting on brushes, and for whatever reason, when my Clip Studio Paint updated, it changed what a lot of the brushes that I like to use. It changed the settings on them, like the default settings. So now a lot of them are a lot rougher, which I need to go and fix it. I'm so lazy. You don't understand. I'm so lazy. But instead I've just decided to, accept my fate and adapt, because I would rather, completely change my art style and learn how to render in a new way than, adjust brush settings to actually fit how I want to use them. This is why my life is as exhausting as it is, which doesn't help with the laziness, because I'm just constantly tired because I put myself in situations. And then because I'm lazy, I put myself in more situations. It's a never-ending cycle. Never-ending cycle. Oh my goodness. But honestly, for this one, I think it really worked, because I was kind of going for more of an oil painty, well, maybe not oil, but like kind of a painter vibe, especially because originally the whole concept was that these were supposed to be like oil paintings of these characters. Because I did this as, I did this as a design for like stickers and keychains, which by the way exist. I have them. I need to put them up on my Etsy store. Maybe this will be like the kick in the took us to like finally get everything together and take the pictures. The problem is, like, I hate taking product photos. I do. I hate taking product photos because I'm bad at it. And also just because the lighting in my house is really bad. So I have like a little light box to improve that, but somehow it still always ends up just looking too bright. But if I don't use it, then it's too dark because my house is a cave. I live in a cave. My mom might be a mole person. But it's okay, because I'm a mole person too. I don't like the sun. I'm not sure if, again, this is like so off topic, but I'm not sure if y'all have noticed that the sun has been trying to kill us recently. Pretty much around the world. Definitely not getting like the worst of it, but you know, I live in Florida. It was already bad, and oh my gosh, the UV has been so bad. Like, I just go outside and I feel terrible. I feel like my brain is being cooked like an egg. And it doesn't help that, like the heat, the sun, and also, like, my car's air conditioning just does not work. It's terrible. I'm not having a good time this summer, is all I'm gonna say. You know, I can't wait for the heat to stop, so I can, you know, exist. Pretty please. With a cherry on top. But yeah. I did have a hard time with non sequitur, but going back to the actual topic of this video, I did have a hard time rendering the little headpiece bit that goes under My Melody's wimple that's like closer. I swear, I find historical fashion interesting. I don't know the terms for things, and I'm not gonna look them up because I choose to be ignorant. But that was kind of difficult to render, just because it was so tight to her face. But I also wanted to give a sense of like three-dimensionality and the shadows, and yeah. But I think I figured it out. I think I got it. At least it didn't give me as much trouble as the friggin' pouch on. It's always the simplest thing that like gives me so much trouble. I'm like, dress, fine, easy peasy, whatever. A pouch on her, like little tiny pouch on her belt was giving me so much trouble. It was like that little knot. I just couldn't get it to look not stupid. And it was driving me crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I think I eventually just gave up and was like, it's just attached through sheer force of will. And hope that no one would notice. Because, you know, that's what real artists do. Yeah. Just go fuck it. Hope no one notices. I definitely... I'm gonna say this, but designing, like, props and stuff is not my forte. So designing, like, the frames was interesting. I was attempting, at least initially, to design, to kind of reflect parts of the characters' designs in their frames. So, like, for Kuromi's frame, it's a lot more spiky. And I even tried to kind of have, like, the little, round dot bit on the top spike, kind of reminiscent of the little jewels on her headpiece, but then I decided I didn't like it. And I thought it looked bad, so I just got rid of it. You know, the thought process was there. There did just come a point there, though, where I was just putting random shit on there. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, this is ornate, and there's all these little details, and So I just started, like, doing little scribbles. I think it looked... It doesn't look too much like I had no idea what I was doing. So, gotta count that as a win. There's nothing better than... I mean, I guess if I wanted to get away with it, I shouldn't be admitting this on record, should I? Oh, well. There's nothing better... There's nothing better than, not knowing what you're doing, but making it look like you know what you're doing. That's basically just, all my art at this point. And then for, like, my melodies, frame, I wanted it to be a little bit simpler, but also kinda... I wanted to be more round and have a lot more, like, flower shape language going on, so I was attempting to kind of make, like, the little wider bits look kind of like flower petals, and I was just going a little bit closer to the rep just because it was so simple. And I'll admit it was a little closer to the reference. Not as much room for ad-libbing. I don't know if it really comes across that they're, like, flower petals or not, but it's still kind of, like, organic plant shapes, so I'm gonna call it a win. I'll call it a win. Girl needs a win sometimes. Yeah. So I will say, all in all, I really enjoyed this. I think it is a fun little, a design experiment to kind of try and reinterpret pre-existing, especially the Sanrio characters, because they are very simple by design. So trying to reinterpret them in, like, a style that's kind of more ornate was a bit of a fun challenge. And I think they came out cute, and I'm happy with it. If I get off my butt and actually, you know, bother to put up the essay listing before this video comes out, I will include the link in the description. As always, the link to the full image on my DeviantArt will be there as well. That's all from me, y'all. Alright. I'm gonna try to be a bit more active, but again, no promises. Alright. Have a wonderful day, evening, whatever you're doing. Alright. Bye.